PKP Intercity, the largest Polish long-distance train operator, is investing heavily into modernized and new rolling stock, except for night train sleeping and couchette cars, where few modernizations have taken place. Join me on this overnight trip in a 40-plus years old, refreshed sleeping car. Welcome to Warszawa Wschodnia, or Warsaw East, railway station on this chilly Friday evening in early April. I'm here to catch the overnight service to Jelenia Gora in the southwest of Poland in the foothills of the Karkonosze mountains, close to a 600-kilometer trip from Warsaw. Warszawa Wschodnia features all services that you'd expect in a major station of a nation's capital. There's a waiting room and staff ticket offices, several food outlets and shops, as well as left luggage lockers and, of course, restrooms. The station is served by numerous tram and bus lines on either side of the tracks. Normally, most trains that originate in Warsaw and continue east and south begin their journey here, so it is a rather busy station. This main tunnel leads to all platforms, with the southern ones assigned to services of the Warsaw conurbation. Our train to Jelenia Gora is at the northernmost platform 1. There don't appear to be escalators or elevators to the platform, so it's time to climb up. I arrived a bit early for the 9:19 p.m. departure, so there is time to stroll around and observe some train arrivals and departures. The yellow departure posters are representative of the number of trains that come through this station in any 24-hour period. Shortly before the arrival of our train, Intercity Chełmianin from Chełm in Lublin in the southeast of Poland pulled in on the opposite track. As seems to be the case in Poland these days, this train was packed with quite a few passengers alighting here. And here comes our ride for tonight, TLK 16170 Karkonosze. It's quite a short consist with 3 second-class coaches and a desirable sleeper at the end. The train is powered by the PKP Venerable Class EP07, the EP07 1010. The 3 second-class cars are all modernized versions of older non-air-conditioned PKP coaches dating as far back as the 1970s in some cases. It's a big improvement over the original designs, but still, I would not want to spend the night in one of these unless there were no other options. However, it's clear from the number of passengers boarding here and at the other 2 Warsaw stations that the seating car option is very popular in Poland. Finally, at the end, awaits car number 30, my 40-plus-year-old sleeping car. This is an East German-built sleeper, series Görlitz 81, and design dating back from 1981 and earlier. The PKP had quite a few of these cars, with a number of them refurbished about 15 years ago. Our example also seems to have just gone through maintenance, including receiving a smart new paint scheme with a black band around the windows. After a cursory ticket check by the friendly and helpful attendant, let's board and get settled in. And this is my single cabin for the night. Here's a quick overview with a more detailed look later. Since the restroom indicates free, let's take a look at the shared facilities in this vintage sleeper. The restroom also has been refurbished and was perfectly clean and fully functional. That's not surprising at the beginning of the trip, but it was also in excellent condition in the morning, so no issues there. There's plenty of destination information provided in the car, both the traditional board showing most planned station stops, as well as a modern active display which updates continuously throughout the trip. The refurbishment did not include air conditioning, which could be sorely missed on a hot summer's night. Tonight, however, the temperatures will drop nicely, so this is not an issue. And no AC means that the windows can be fully opened, adding an important dimension to the vintage feel of this trip. We depart right on time at 9:19 p.m. or 21:19 if you're so inclined. After a few minutes traversing the Wisła River, we enter the tunnel under central Warsaw and shortly arrive at Warszawa Centralna, the Warsaw Central Station, right in the center of the city. Here, a huge crowd awaits and soon storms the 3 seats cars, as well as our sleeper. We depart on time and move on to the third stop in Warsaw, the Warsaw West or Warszawa Wschodnia station. It's the busiest station in Poland in terms of the number of trains that stop here and is undergoing a complete rebuild for the past few years, with the final shape starting to emerge as the platforms are successfully transformed. It's going to look like a brand new station, which kind of resembles Wien Hauptbahnhof, the main station in Vienna. I'm looking forward to visiting the completed project to see how it compares. Here too, a large crowd boarded our train, and we still departed on time. A brief look into the first seats car as well as the number of passengers I saw boarding our sleeper make me think that the train was sold out. With PKP Intercity requiring reservations, I would think that another 1 or 2 seats cars and a couchette could be added to the consist without fear of running an empty train. As the train left Warsaw behind, the sleeping car quieted down quickly. It's time to settle in for the night, but first, let's take a look at our cabin. It's actually kind of spacious. The door can be locked only from the inside with a chain for additional protection. Opposite the beds is where you'd hang your coats and clothes and place small bags on the floor for easy access. This shelf is one of the areas to store things. There's plenty of space below the bunk for luggage, and this along the upper edge of the compartment opposite the beds. Each bed has a reading light, and the lights in the room can be changed to different settings, including a blue nightlight. There is a handy call button for the attendant in case you need help during the night. In the single configuration, only the bottom bed is ready, with the middle bed stowed and the upper deployed but not used. And the included amenity kit is rather limited, featuring only a small hand cloth and a tiny soap. The bedding is good quality, very nice to the touch. And the bed itself was firm but very comfortable. This is what the beds look like stacked. You can see the various elements and mechanisms used to set up the beds in the double and triple configurations. The top bed is now in the triple position, and for the double configuration it can be lowered along the guide in the wall and rested on this lower support. The bottom support is used for the middle bed in the 3-bed setup with the folded mattress swung out and up. There are a couple of power sockets provided, including this one and one in the small cabinet above the sink. The sink is hidden by this fair-sized table where some additional freebies are placed. You get a couple of sundries, a bottle of water, and a bottle of juice. The table area transforms into a sink when raised. Both hot and cold water worked well, although with limited pressure. The small mirrored cabinet hides more storage and that second shaver power socket. Finally, there is a waste bin provided under the sink. During refurbishment, the cloth curtains were replaced by dual shades, one of which is a blackout shade, very useful at night to keep the cabin dark. This control should regulate the amount of heat delivered to the cabin. However, it seemed to have a mind of its own. No matter how I set it, the temperature never changed, although it was perfect throughout the night. Don't pull this red handle unless absolutely necessary. It's the emergency brake that's present in each compartment, and it would create havoc if deployed. So as it's getting quite late, it's time to climb in the comfy bed and get some sleep. Good night. And good morning from Wałbrzych. This is a small city in the south of Poland, about an hour before our destination. A local Koleje Dolnośląskie train, a single-car DMU, greeted me on the next platform. This station had a different vibe than the large stations in Warsaw, and I immediately felt transformed into a seemingly different world. Hence the magic of night trains. In addition to not including air conditioning, the other thing that was omitted during the refurbishment is modernization or replacement of the bogies. There has been a huge improvement in suspension technology between the 1970s when this car was designed and now. This old East German design was loud, but that did not distract me from enjoying the night. The attendant brought a needed cup of coffee, which I consumed with the Prince Polo chocolate bar that was included. The southwest of Poland is very beautiful country. The railway lines are dominated by German origin buildings, as this part of Europe was Germany prior to World War II. Many of the stations here have been refreshed and modernized, but many still retain the original look and feel. This is especially true on the secondary lines, which I hope to experience on one of my upcoming visits to Poland. Our train grew by 2 cars overnight, with the 2 being attached in Wrocław. These are through coaches from Gdynia and Gdańsk in the north of the Baltic coast that were part of another train, the TLK Karkonosze, down to Wrocław, where the switching took place. We traveled from Wałbrzych to Jelenia Gora through meandering terrain, stopping at a number of smaller stations. This train seems to be popular with hikers, with this guy getting off and ready to go, as well as a large ladies hiking group at the other end of the platform. There are a limited number of tunnels on the PKP network, and just before Jelenia Gora, we came upon one that is in the final stages of reconstruction. It is being rebuilt from the inside out and enlarged to accommodate 2 tracks, all the while supporting most local and long-distance traffic. Here we are, arriving in Jelenia Gora right on time. I must say this was one of my most favorite night train trips in a while. Traveling in a 40+ years old sleeping car, going from Warsaw to a far-flung beautiful location sure brings back many great memories of my travels as a kid in the 1970s. It's time to disembark for the brief visit to this very nice small city. One more thing worth mentioning is the Vars attendant on this trip. He was a very nice older fellow that made the trip that much more pleasant. Vars, by the way, is the company that provides dining, couchette and sleeping car staff and services to PKP Intercity throughout Poland. Here are some parting takes of our train, the TLK 16170, at its destination station, Jelenia Gora. I paid 379.5 Polish zloty for this trip in a single sleeper compartment. That's a good value for a very comfortable, nostalgic way to travel across Poland. In peak tourist seasons of summer and winter, this train extends to Szklarska Poręba Górna, a resort town another 45 plus minutes further into the mountains. For now, however, the trip is over in Jelenia Gora, and I leave you with a few visual highlights of the old town. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.